And then I used those same people when it was just three of us
Mhm.
to when I had 100. It was still the same people. So I was wondering why I was seeing, kind of flat, the growth started to, flat,
Yeah.
become flat for a while. And it's because, I had to start investing in my infrastructure. I love these folks, but now it's time to get expertise.
Yeah.
Now that we're going into IT, of course, you need those people with those kind of skill sets and business development as well. So, you had to let go of that mom and pop kind of trust circle to having people who are qualified to help you. But then there has been a shift in the past like 3 years that social media marketing has blown up. Like when you have a meeting to go say, talk to a finance CFO, right?
Mhm.
They're going to the internet and researching you. Matter of fact, they won't even take a meeting with you if you don't really have an online footprint, because it adds legitimacy to who you are, or they want to talk to thought leaders.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Your Lab Central. Today, I have with me James Radford. So, James, would you like to tell our audience why they should be excited about this conversation today?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your podcast. I am excited. Hello, world. Um, we should be excited about this conversation today because my platform, we really deal with individuals who may have uh, had things happen in their lives that just derailed them, distracted them, discouraged them from realizing their dreams. They may, I put it like this: you lost that spark, that spunk you had, and this grandiose vision of who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do in this life. And it's not always that things, car accident, right? Or
Mhm.
surviving a shark attack, right? Or
Yeah.
you falling from Mount Everest. It doesn't have to be that extreme. It could be dead end jobs, bad relationships. These are things that oftentimes will cause us to lose hope, derail us, and we forget about our purpose and that spark that would drive us to our dreams. So, what I feel I'm called to do, and my purpose is to really talk to those individuals, help them redefine, rediscover that spark, and find that passion, and use that as fuel to propel you through any obstacles that you would ever encounter to realize your goals and dreams. So, that should get some people excited, today. So certainly that's why I'm excited.
Now, since you've told me so much about what your mission is and how you try to help people with, it seems to me that you've been through this journey, right? And you had some dead end and you felt rock bottom hit you on your face. So, what was your journey like? What realization did you have that propelled you on this journey and now you're helping other people on this?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, um, every time I talk about this, I relive it, and
Uh-huh.
that's when it's really real. So I was in the Air Force. Yeah, I am a military veteran. Shout out to all my veteran family out there. And I was in my 12th year of service, and my arm went numb. So I worked out previously that day and earlier that day, and I thought it was, hey, I just, did too much, too much, 500 pounds. No, just kidding. But I thought I hurt my shoulder, because, it started tingling. And then a few hours the next day, actually, my face started to feel tingling too. So it was just when my arms, my face. So I went to the doctor, and after 4 visits, I show up to the doctor and they say, hey, you have multiple sclerosis. And this was my briefing at the gym. My briefing was this: sir, you have multiple sclerosis. You will end up in a wheelchair. You're no longer qualified to fit to be in the Air Force. It's not curable, and it does lead to death. That was my exact briefing,
Mhm.
and I'm in Germany when this happened with my family. And um, so I was devastated. I was didn't know what to do. So I was forced to come back to the States. Was exiting a bad relationship where I had kept my 4 children. And so it was just us, me and my 4 kids, no job, out of the military with a disease that will put me in a wheelchair and probably kill me, right? One day the girls asked me to go to Chipotle. They love Chipotle. So I stopped at the bank. And back in those days, when you're broke, you always check your balance before you try,
Yeah.
try. I'll see what you have in there. You don't know anything about those days, did you? But anyway, so I checked my balance, and I didn't have enough money in the account to
Uh-huh.
pull out $20 to take my girls to Chipotle, and it was like a lightning strike hit me. I decided at that moment. I woke up. In the it's called I think it was Japanese or Korean. It's called Satori. It's a moment of enlightenment where the light just comes on, and I kind of looked around and say, "What, how did I end up here?
Yeah.
This is not me. This is not what I was supposed to do. This is not going to be the end of my story. I'm not supposed to be in the place where I am." And from that moment, I decided, hey, I'm going to chase after my dreams. Whether I'm in a wheelchair or not, I have limited time and I'm gonna go after it because I will never be in this place again. And that is the moment, defining moment for me where that passion, that light went on, the fire start burning again. And that's when history was made.
So, where are you in your journey currently? What are you doing these days that's helping you help other people? I know if I can put it rightly, what's helping you help other people right now?
Well, what's motivate me to help other people. First of all, the best help you can ever be to someone else is an example, right?
Mm.
So as we meet goal after goal and achievement after achievement, first goal was $1 million, with the company. The next it was 5 million, it was 10, then it was 20, it's 30, now we're hitting 100, So it was the best thing I could do, first of all, is to be a testament to what I talk about. So my own
Yeah.
success is probably the best help. And it turns out the most people that I talk to and my efficacy is realized most often are those individuals who just need to see it. They haven't been exposed in their communities and their culture
Mhm.
that have people that look like them, talk like them, that have achieved the level of success that they know they are destined to, right? So that's the first step. But the next step is, my passion for people who are like me. I was felt so alone when I was down in my lowest. I felt like I was the only one there. I felt like no one ever was
Mhm.
was in my like divorce was happening what every 3 seconds, right? But I thought, hey, I'm divorced with kids. I'm not, I felt so alone. So the next step, what motivates me is to be that person that they can talk to, that they can relate to tell them, no, you're not alone. This is not impossible. And then it's a calling, right? So there's an inner um, calling, the inner purpose that I know that I'm connected to something higher than myself. That every day that I know I have to give back and I have a job to do, if that makes sense.
Yep, definitely makes sense because yeah, it just kind of relates, and that's how. Now, since you talked about it going from $20 to 1 million to 5 to 10 to 100, now what are you doing that's generating so much revenue or generating so
Oh,
much income for you?
well, that's a good point. We don't want people thinking I'm a drug dealer. So all right. So to preface all this, so when so in the Air Force, what I did was I was a contracting officer. So what that means is I was the one that was negotiating contracts on behalf of the Air Force to
Oh,
vendors. So when I got myself together, I just that was a tool bag that the Air Force gave me. So I just opened that tool bag once I woke up and said, "Hey, uh, I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna sit on the other side of the table. I'm gonna be the one going after these government contracts." So right
right.
now, my company is called Trust Consulting Services, and we are into we're IT. We're a digital transformation, digital workforce company. We specialize in AI, machine learning, cybersecurity, infrastructure, engineering, um, and program management support. So that's how we got to where we are today.
Now you went from being alone to I don't know how big your team is currently, but you opened up a full service industry, right? Full service based
Yes.
company. Now this journey, I, this brings up too many questions right now. Finding the first employee, creating the great perfect team, or just propelling the whole team forward, getting the right motivation correct. I don't know which one to start with. So.
Start at the beginning. When I first started, I so you know what, I'll tell you this. One thing that one strength. So that's another thing for the audience is, realizing what your strengths are, what are your
Yeah.
national talents and gifts, because you'll find that that's where the watering hole is. You know what I mean? That's where you'll find, separates you from anybody else, right? So my natural God-given ability is networking. I'm just a people
Uh,
person. So whether it's on an
okay.
airplane, whether it's at Starbucks, I'm gonna talk to you. I notice what kind of watch you have on or your accent. I always try to learn languages, and
Yeah.
I only know three words in every language, but I'll use them, right? So um, what I did was I started reaching out to people in my network that were in the military,
Yeah.
um, and asked them for their help. I said, hey, I'm trying to start my own company. And it turns out that a friend of mine introduced me to somebody in the Department of Transportation
Mhm.
who basically gave me the blueprint. Hey, if you do X, Y, and Z, you have a great opportunity for this contract here. And I did that and got my first contract. And so it was just me. It was just me. So, I was so excited about that first contract. I forgot I had to pay. I forgot I had to I had to hire people to do the work and I had to pay them, right? So I had to quickly, this is a true story. So I had to quickly go on Google and learn, how to set up a payroll, um, um, and find benefits. This is stuff I actually did on Google. So it was a rough start, but all the stuff that I was doing in the beginning on my own helped me as I started to scale, because everything that I needed to add to the company, I
Mhm.
actually did myself beforehand. Does that make sense? So I didn't really have to hire anybody to teach me a whole lot, because I learned by, failing myself, or, running the brick walls myself and going and researching and
Yeah.
finding solutions myself. So that helped a lot. Right now we're about um, and that's the hardest part, I think, about growth,
Mhm.
in business, if that's what we're talking about now, is that, going from like a mom and pop where you start off with friends, because that's what I did. I had people, they weren't qualified to do anything. I just needed help. So I had two friends that helped me with payroll and other things
Yeah.
in the company. And then I used those same people when it was just three of us
Mhm.
to when I had 100. It was still the same people. So I was wondering why I was seeing, kind of flat, the growth started to, flat,
Yeah.
become flat for a while. And it's because, I had to start investing in my infrastructure. I love these folks, but now it's time to get expertise.
Yeah.
Now that we're going into IT, of course, you need those people with those kind of skill sets and business development as well. So, you had to let go of that mom and pop kind of trust circle to
Mhm.
having people who are qualified to help you lead. So we're about several hundred right now, and we're doing well. But I think at the end of the year we'll probably hit over 1,000,
Mhm.
and so things are moving.
And how's your journey with right. So since you pointed out the plateau part, right? How did you handle that? Because that is a phase that a lot of business folk out there reach, and they're like, okay, now what do we do? We just flattened out, revenue's flat.
Yeah,
It's there. It's
yeah,
not moving. It's just there. We're doing good
right.
business. We're in a comfortable position. Even if we don't do anything, we're still going to be doing business for the next several years per se. But how do you get out of that rut?
Yeah, the first traditional thing is that people think that, when you start to flatten out in terms of your numbers and stuff, that uh, the first thing you want to do is to look at the marketplace. And I think that, that sounds good in business school. First of all, if you take my business model, I'll probably be, a Harvard professor would probably beat me up in the alley, right? But uh, I think, to me, I think one of the first places you want to look is internally, your infrastructure.
Yeah.
So, can you, the infrastructure that you have now, is it sustainable for what you have, and is it built to withstand growth, to add more to
Yeah.
it, right? So I think that's the first thing, you have to do is look at what you, and I told you I had my three buddies, right?
Yeah.
Um, and that I knew that we could not do we come as far as we could with that infrastructure.
Mhm.
So then once I realized that, I said, hey, we have to get in other markets, because at that time when we were going flat, it was close to COVID. So I started researching other industries, and in wake of that, and so we picked some good industries. And I literally, in 3 o'clock in the morning, I literally researched recession-proof industries,
Uh-huh.
and security was one of them, and custodial was another one. So I invested in security, and to this day, it's a major part of our revenue, and it's growing, well, leaps and bounds.
Mhm.
So market research, understanding. Somebody used to tell me, "Hey, skate where the hockey puck is going, not where it's at." So you have to kind of watch the market and find out what's new. And AI helps now because you can actually literally ask AI and say, "Hey, what's the next 10 hot things in the industry?" And it'll tell you. But back then, I didn't have that. So,
Yeah.
just anticipating where the market's going to go.
So anticipating where the market's going to go. I guess that's just a part of how entrepreneurs work
Yeah.
and just have this gut feeling and things like that. But do you have a team where which is willing to say, no, your gut feeling is wrong? Have you built that into your team?
Yeah, so I going back to the infrastructure part, when I started having to bring on people who
Mhm.
had the expertise and the experience, one of the things I did have to stand up was a capture team, so a business development team. So we have a team of about ten individuals now whose sole job is to do the analysis, gather the data, sell, look at because we have tools and gadgets that we're making now. I have a whole AI uh, uh, center of excellence where the guys are just making stuff in the garage. So yeah, I do have a team of experts that kind of look at the market and figure out where the hockey puck is going to go now. And I thank God that the company can afford that, because that's really what's going to take has taken us to the in the big leagues, if you will. Yeah.
Now, since we started off with the point that we want to help people, right? Uh, when you bring on an employee or say a person who you think that now you can work with, so is there a thought that, yeah, I'm trying to help uplift this person, and where does that philosophy fit into your way of working?
So my philosophy is, we want to bring team players in, and because my background is the military,
Yeah.
it's all about, one team, one fight. So they have to be loyal to, whatever the vision is, whatever the mission is of the company. Um, but what I find this is critical is that what they're going to do for the company has to fit into their personal
Mm.
goal or dream or plan. Does that make sense? A lot of people, because
Yeah.
it's not going to work. Because if you're planning on going this way and the company's going that way,
Yeah.
it's just not going to work. You may have some good short-term results, but you'll see stuff like team dynamics if something's off.
Yeah.
There's those people that's not showing up to the company picnic, and stuff like that, because really they're really looking at, they have
Something
something
else.
else that they're, yeah, and you don't want that. We want people that's going to stay around at least 5, 10 years, if not retire with the company. By the way, we had our first retirement last year, which was awesome. We've been around 10 years total, and we actually retired somebody last year. But
Uh-huh.
that is a very critical point. You want somebody whose long-term goals aligns with the company's long-term goals.
Mhm. Now, there's something I want to ask about since we talked about sales and in between, right? Now, you're a B2B player, right? Particularly because services you have to sell to other businesses. Just it just happens that I also do this section, so I want to also ask you this question, right? So B2B players have a very narrowed vision when it comes to, say, social media specifically, right? Or doing performance marketing, just trying to run ads on Google. How's your experience been? Do you ever had to have, because you started off with military, now you're just getting into securities market. So did you ever feel the need that this needs to be done? Do you have enough reasons to be doing that?
Yeah, and just to clarify, so the security part was the physical security part. So it's because the company's located in the Washington D.C. area. You see a lot of guards, protected federal buildings and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that was one of the things I researched. But and we do, even though the Department of Defense is a large client, we also support a lot of the civilian agencies like Department of Transportation, these other, HUD and stuff like that. So anyway, saying that is that client base is a little different, right? So
Yes, that's right.
um, So a lot of that is initially um, they have a lot of conferences and networking events. So you
Yeah.
would spend a lot of your time attending,
Mhm.
those events. But then there has been a shift in the past like 3 years that social media marketing has blown up. Like when you have a meeting to go say talk to a finance CFO, right?
Mhm.
They're going to the internet and researching you. As a matter of fact, they won't even take a meeting with you if you don't really have an online footprint, because it adds legitimacy to who you are, or they want to talk to thought leaders. So a few years ago, I really started investing in understanding the importance of social media because I really didn't have one. That's what I was old school,
Yeah.
so I had to learn that myself and be transparent, like put my face out there and you know uh talk to people and stuff. So it really helped us a lot because now that we are our solution architects, we
Yeah.
have to have legitimacy. We have to be a thought leader in the industry, and the only way that companies or agencies can verify that is to go to your social media platforms to do so. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, not when they look for legitimacy, they look for knowledge articles on the website. They look
Yep.
for.
Yes.
I don't know if the business leader is there on social media platforms. I mean, it's not about just sharing. At least you have to be there and be present, engaging with somebody else's post or something of that sort, doing something of the or the other. Specifically, your company page per se. The How do you approach that? Do you only talk about what your company does, or do you talk about specifically what your company does inside? Okay, rather than just doing what's outside.
Yes, so we do couple of the approaches. We talk about, company as a whole, why should you take us, come,
Yeah.
and then we talk about, what their uh, what do you call it? Kind of what their universe of what they do, and how does our company help that, right? So whether it's program management, because that's what
Testimonials.
Department of Defense, right, right, right. Yeah, it's so we talk about that, hey, but what we're really trying to do, to your point, is really capture. We want to like we have blogs on our website. We have because we want them to click. We want them to spend time
That's
on
right.
our website, right?
Uh,
And somewhere on there we want to touch on something personal to them, like there's what problem can we solve for you,
yeah.
right? So it may take you a couple of clicks, you might have to go to some of these pages, but we have articles there, we have blogs there, we have videos. We want something to touch your pain point, because that's
Yeah.
what you get paid the big bucks for, is you have to solve these problems for these big agencies or these big companies. So yes.
Okay. Now, random question. It just popped up. So, what's your toughest client onboarding story? Since you're in this
Oh,
huge business of
you
services,
know you
what's your
know what
toughest client till date? I don't
I'm probably
have
going
to
to have to
share
come back.
details, but yeah.
No, don't you tell, yeah. No, no, I'm probably gonna have to come back on your show because I could talk several different areas. We have the JW Radford, which is the motivational side, but we also have, James Radford, the company man, right? And that's kind of who we're talking about today.
Mhm.
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you an abbreviated story. So I had a contract with a client, and it was a security management solution, right?
Okay.
And this contract didn't have any details about where you wanted security guards, where did you want the crowd to come in, because they wanted magnetometers, they wanted X-ray machines.
Okay.
Um, and the contract that I won, I was supposed to provide all that. I had no idea where to buy a magnetometer. So I won the contract, and I went on good old Google, and I found out that the machines that I needed were only available in Italy, and they were hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I got on the phone, I found a company, I got on the phone and convinced them to do co-assignment. They shipped these parts, these magnetometers walked through to me, or
Hmm.
actually to the customer's facility
Hmm.
without any money. And they just trusted that I would pay, it's $500,000 worth of
Mhm.
with equipment. So that I'll leave it at that. And maybe, when you have me back on, we could talk more about that. But literally, I won a contract and I didn't have any clue of how to execute it or where to get the equipment. And we made it happen. So I'll say that's my toughest challenge by far.
Was that a surprise for you? I mean, you did not go through the contract or somebody missed it. Where did it get missed?
How did that happen, right? How did that happen, right? So, um, in government contract, a lot of times you write the stuff, kind of cross your fingers because the win percentage is just so ridiculously low
Hmm.
that we wrote to it, and I had the social economic, which are programs that certain contract they say, hey, we want to compete this, but only to companies that have this certain
Oh,
certification, right? So
okay.
we had that certification. So we just start writing and writing, and I didn't think I was going to win this contract. And when they called me and said I did, I was like, I was excited at first.
Of
Then I
course.
was like, where am I gonna get this equipment from? But and I had 30 days to get it, so I had negotiated with the government to give me extra time, and I had to come up with 64 people.
Okay.
So that's another story for another time. I'll tell you how I did that, but that's probably by far my toughest challenge.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll probably get that on a separate episode.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what's your next pet project coming up, if you want to share, and who all are involved?
So we have a opportunity so there's some movement in the state of Michigan. There's some conversation there about um, the Department of Defense investing in that area. So we want to be a part of that solution there. And I'm think what we're looking at is probably setting up a cyber school, cyber training to where we have individuals in the local Michigan area who
Okay.
could come to our training facility and be trained in cyber for DoD purposes, and work with DoD to have these folks be employed, whether it's federally or on contracts. But we have to really this current administration is really dedicating a lot of attention and a lot of resources to cyber and different types of defense, that IT defense. So that's a new project that we're really focused on, and I think it'll be a major impact to our country's security. So I'm excited about that. Yes,
Sounds
sir.
amazing. Now,
Yes,
since you've
sir.
already mentioned, I just want to ask, since you started out on LinkedIn, I don't know, are you specifically on LinkedIn or any other platforms as well?
All of them. All of them. Yes, sir.
Okay, so how did you learn? What were your baby steps on social media platforms since you had to do that?
The baby steps was, after you get the website,
Mhm.
that part, and you bring on folks to help you with that is really just a paradigm shift. So,
Right.
social media, you have to interact.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
so, with business people, entrepreneurs, unless you're millennial and up, right? Because that comes natural to them. But if you're my age, that's not it's not that doesn't come natural. So I really had to get used to posting, to reading, what's being said, on social media, not just the news channels, right?
Yeah.
Well, you see how the election went, that was all social media, so it's a different world. So just getting used to following what's agencies where they're going, and they're posting, you following them, and then interacting with
Mhm.
those agencies, and also people, because I'm constantly recruiting. So a lot of times now I'm finding the best candidates. I find them on LinkedIn,
That's
and they're reaching out to me personally.
right.
So you have to be active on that stuff and pay attention to it. So I used to talk about my kids all the time. Hey, put your phones down. But guess what? When we go to dinner, guess who has their phone in their hand all the time? It's me. They're like, Dad, put your phone down. So that is kind of the newest
Mhm.
biggest change, I would say, challenge.
Thank you so much, James. It was an amazing conversation. I personally had a lot of fun having this conversation with you
Sure.
today. I'm sure the audience
Outstanding.
loved it. Now, before we
Yes,
close,
sir.
compulsory question: where can people get in touch with you? if they.
You know what? So, Trust is doing some great things out there. So our website is trustconsultingservices.com. You can go check us out, our services, and we would love to support, you out there and be your trusted agent, partner with you in these solutions. Also, hey, if you need someone to come talk to your staff or, any philanthropic efforts out there, jwradford.com. You can go check me out. I got a new book coming out. Um, so, yep, that's where you can reach me, and I'm here. I'm here to stay.
Thank you so much, James. It was an amazing conversation. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you, sir.
To the
Hey, look forward to
audience,
doing this.
thank you so much. To the audience and who's been intently watching and listening, if you liked what we talked about, do leave a like. The comment section is open for perspectives, additional comments, and suggestions. And don't forget to subscribe if you've not subscribed yet. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks again,
Take
James.
care. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.